The concept of death within storytelling can be such an interesting concept when it comes to wrapping up arcs or contributing to stories, whether it be Uncle Ben dying that went on to motivate Spider-Man, or the redemption arcs of characters like Anakin Skywalker, or Arthur Fleck who saw the light and chose it but are ultimately killed off before they can accomplish better things or redeem themselves. But of all those different kind of cinematic deaths, my favorite type would have to be deaths of sacrifice. With Superman's in the film, Batman vs Superman being one of the greatest examples of that, as we will examine in this video. In the story of Batman vs Superman, Superman is met with tons of obstacles that he is forced to stand up against since he revealed himself to the world, against his adopted father's wishes when he had to save Earth from his fellow Kryptonians like Zod, who wished to destroy it for the sake of their people living on Earth over the humans. Superman ultimately chose Earth over his own people when he chose to kill Zod to save the world that his parents adopted him into. Fast forward to BVS as we start to see the consequences of Superman revealing himself amplifying despite Superman going on to save plenty of people around the globe, with many varying types of people taking issue with Superman for varying reasons. BVS does a great job at reflecting how people will always have something to complain about, even when it comes to a man giving it his all to save them. First and foremost, we have the general public or media being split, such as the people who experience hardship or bad circumstances being grateful for Superman's presence where he's there to save people, along with people defending Superman as he's only there to do the right thing no matter the jurisdiction. And then there's the other half that may be more prominent and more vocal based on what's shown, where other people hate Superman and see him as a controversial figure due to ignoring human laws and governments, even if it's for the greater good, or because it's an alien doing it instead of the American government. A lot of these being perspectives that the internet or news media influences, even if it's via fake news, whether it be the right or left side of politics. High-thinking bandwagons in a decent amount of instances, basically. But this clip here bluntly shows it all.
We, as a population on this planet, have been looking for a savior. 90% of people believe in a higher power, and every religion believes in some sort of messianic figure. And when this savior character actually comes to Earth, we want to make him abide by our rules. We have to understand that this is a paradigm shift. We have to start thinking beyond politics.
Are there any moral constraints on this person? We have international law. On this Earth, every act is a political act.
Is it really surprising that the most powerful man in the world should be a figure of controversy?
To have an individual engaging in these state-level interventions should give us all pause.
Human beings have a horrible track record of following people of great power down paths that led to huge human atrocities.
We have always created icons in our own image. What we've done is we project ourselves onto him. The fact is, maybe he's not some sort of devil or Jesus character. Maybe he's just a guy trying to do the right thing.
We're talking about a being whose very existence challenges our own sense of priority in the universe. And you go back to Copernicus, where he restored the sun in the center of the known universe, displacing Earth. And you get to Darwinian evolution, and you find out we're not special on this Earth, we're just one among other life forms. And now we learn that we're not even special in the entire universe because there is Superman.
Beyond the media and average population, we have Lex Luthor being mad at Superman being born a godlike figure far above what any of his wealth can bring him, and yet he can't fathom that this figure can be perfectly good given his own deep-rooted hatred for any hero figure who isn't himself, given that he felt that he was abandoned by society and was a victim to the abusive hands of his father growing up. No one saved Lex except for his own hard work that carried him to becoming the head of LexCorp. So the moral question that comes with someone who could have potentially saved him by virtue of existing is something that both confuses and angers him.
No man in the sky intervened when I was a boy to deliver me from Daddy's fists and abominations. I figured out way back. If God is all-powerful, he cannot be all good. And if he is all good, then he cannot be all-powerful.
And then we have someone like Batman, who we know has issues with his city or himself, and how his city hasn't changed for the better despite his best efforts spanning 2 decades. And then he sees Superman, who destroys pieces of his family legacy through collateral damage, taking out the WaterTower as Superman was fighting Zod. And this starts to flicker Batman's frustrations toward Superman, towards the losses of his friends along the way, towards the world, towards a city that hasn't changed despite his best efforts, all of this going in tandem with each other to the point where Batman starts to make
new rules.
We're criminals, Alfred. We've always been criminals. Nothing's changed.
Oh, yes it has, sir. Everything's changed. Men fall from the sky. The gods hurl thunderbolts. Innocents die. That's how it starts, sir. The fever, the rage, the feeling of powerlessness that turns good men cruel.
And this is all a built-up anger of Batman's that Lex Luthor takes advantage of as one of his many plans beyond blowing up the Capitol to make Superman look bad, while also killing one of the only legal authorities opposing him. This was all done to set up the most skilled human in the world against Superman, by rage-baiting Bruce with letters referencing Superman destroying the Wayne Tower with quotes like, "You let your family die," and then practically letting Batman take the kryptonite. When everything is set up, he baits Superman by throwing Lois off of a building and then elaborates on his motivations as shown by my last Lex clip before revealing his trap card, where he reveals that he has Superman's adopted mother Martha held hostage to be burned if Superman doesn't kill Batman within the hour. And to top all of that, we probably get the saddest line in the movie given the context of Superman fighting so hard for the greater good of humanity by just trying to save lives.
No one stays good in this world.
And after this, we of course get the title of the movie where Batman fights Superman and Superman tries to plead to Batman to help him stop Lex near the start of the fight. But Batman is so angry and committed that he ignores it as he literally blasts audio speakers at Superman. When Superman ends up underestimating Batman, Batman actually manages to scrape by and win with the usage of kryptonite. We see the sadness in Superman's face for feeling more vulnerable than he ever has before in tandem with the stakes of his mother's life being on the line. Through Superman's final plea when Batman is about to kill him, he begs Batman to at least save Martha with the comic-accurate coincidence of their mothers having the same name. Further reminder that Superman is pretty much another person with a mother just like every other human. A mother that Clark loves so much that he clings to the trust that even if Batman kills him, that he will at least be willing to save her for him. Superman, now the helpless little boy begging for the life of his mother, was the perfect representation of what was taken from Batman. Only with Batman being the taker in this case. This wakes Batman up to how angry he was at the world to the point where he almost killed an innocent person out of his rage, and would have resulted in him being the reason Martha died. After that common ground being found, Batman wants to go out of his way to compensate for wronging Superman, so he sets out to climb out of the abyss and save Martha. While Superman sets out to deal with Lex Luthor, who had the backup plan of using Kryptonian DNA to make a monster that will kill Superman, which is something Lex only accomplished due to killing Senator Finch. Superman becomes the man in the sky who intervened to stop a fist of an abomination from hitting Lex Luthor despite all the vile acts Lex has done in the movie, like killing a bunch of people in Africa, and then framing Superman for it by making it look like heat vision killed them, and then having a woman killed for trying to tell the truth about the situation. But anyway, Doomsday becomes a great world-endangering threat that Superman tries to kill by letting the nuke the military sent out hit himself and Doomsday, only for Superman to barely survive the failed attempt to the point where Wonder Woman has to come out of retirement to try and help despite her turning her back on humanity years ago. And then we have DC's iconic trio finally formed to try and save the world from Doomsday. Throughout all the badass chaos, no progress gets made to the point where what Superman must sacrifice becomes oh so clear. Despite giving it his all to save humanity from Zod when he picked the humans over his own people, from the fact that his adopted mother Martha said he didn't owe humanity a thing after he saved them. Despite all that, he is still ready to sacrifice everything for a world that had a large portion of people hating him, or even trying to kill him, as he finds some solace with the woman he loves before he flies off to do what must be done.
I love you.
No. No, Clark, you can't.
This is my world.
No, Clark, don't.
you or my world.
No. Please. No!
Now this clip is pure DC aura to the max, so various details like all three heroes working together, such as Wonder Woman giving it her all to restrain Doomsday in the heat of all the chaos, the look of worry and despair in Batman's face when he knows that the odds of Superman making it out of this are low. And finally we have the perseverance of Superman to further impale himself for the greater good of making sure he kills Doomsday before he destroys the world, taking inspiration from a classic tale, Excalibur, where a similar stabbing scene played out identically, along with other narrative themes if you really want to dig into it. And to top it all off, we have the legendary score going ham as hell, as it has throughout all of BVS, which is probably my favorite film soundtrack that I blast in my 2022 Nissan Rogue. Hans Zimmer never misses. Point is, all of this comes together to make what I would pretty much call the best death in the entirety of the superhero genre, with all of the details I've explained thus far in this video. These qualities even keep going with the aftermath and funeral that still shows a good side of humanity through the guilt Batman feels after he tried to kill Superman, which is shown by his lines.
All those circuses back east carrying an empty box.
They don't know how to honor him, except as a soldier.
I failed him. In life. I won't fail him in death. Help me find the others like you.
Perhaps they don't want to be found.
They will. And they'll fight. We have to stand together.
Or Wonder Woman, who observes all of this as shown by her lines alluding to why stuff like this caused her to walk away from mankind despite her capabilities to help them. But despite that pessimism Wonder Woman gave, Batman shows that Superman helped him grow out of some of the darkness via his speech that also cuts to humanity, mourning Superman's death and appreciating his sacrifice despite the people who took Superman for granted.
Men are still good. We fight, we kill, we betray one another, but we can rebuild. We can do better. We will. We have to.
And that's probably one of my favorite superhero endings that mixes the dark with the optimism behind Superman. A man who sacrificed himself for a world that rejected him, inspiring humanity, Batman, and ultimately the formation of the Justice League through his sacrifice. This is of course despite some dumb high-think bot media illiterate morons treating Snyder's films like they were just dark and edgy movies while turning around and praising poop and orgy jokes as peak DC.
Your booze mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
At the end of the day, it is in the darkest of nights that the bright lights and stars shine all the more. There are honestly next to no deaths in comic book movies that I think comes close to Cavill's Superman other than various villain deaths in the Raimi Spider-Man movies, most notable being Harry Osborn that I have a video on, or even Arthur Fleck's death despite his second movie being hated by most with similar bandwagon reasons to the Snyder hate. The list of superhero characters I named here are pretty much all there is for significant superhero deaths, other than Rorschach from Snyder's Watchmen, or a few Fox X-Men characters like Logan and a few others from that franchise, but I honestly can't think of any MCU examples, as they wouldn't even put Iron Man on that list due to all the dumb haha moment movies that caused me to not take that universe seriously, as nobody will be able to articulate depthful arcs as I have with Superman here. If Socrates is anything to go off of, true philosophical depths will always be punished. These moments and themes are just beyond perfect, despite the chronically online vocal minority internet critics that rile up their sub 80 IQ fans into throwing hissy fits that do not represent the general public, hence why their cringe goofy Superman movie lost the Man of Steel from over 10 years ago, even without inflation that would make the difference even bigger than it already laughably is. None of these dookie criticisms debunk these themes that were objectively there that took inspiration from The Dark Knight Returns, as Snyder stated before release, which is shown by lines taken right out of the top-rated Batman book, including Superman on a dang near word-for-word basis, with very few rivals in accuracy, or the accuracy as to why Batman kills in BVS, due to how most people would interpret these Dark Knight Returns panels as him shooting someone, as Snyder himself stated. Fake DC comic readers go off of the animated movie of the book, where people who weren't the original author changed it from what Frank Miller showed. The death of Superman was of course adapted, despite some differences that aren't even more different than the further liberties other superhero movies take. And I can assure you I have the receipts. Some of these fake geeks like to whine and say, oh, they adapted the death of Superman too early, as if 4 hours and 56 minutes of movie runtime with plot details I just explained is too early to kill off a character. It'd be like complaining about Raimi's Spider-Man 2 doing the Spider-Man No More storyline too soon in their second movie, which, let's be honest, probably would have been complained about had those films came out today, with how much these movie studios like Disney and WB especially enable the chronically online by literally tanking movie universes just to please these petty complaints, only to make less money than Snyder at every turn. Point is, all of these negative dookie criticisms come from the nerdy vocal minority, media literate who luckily don't represent the general public who actually buy tickets, unlike the bots pretending to not understand the Martha scene that was clear cut to most people who don't go off of immature parodies of it. All of this BS ironically adds up to what the movie itself briefly showed with various examples of people hating what they don't understand. And that's just one of the many beauties of BVS that I could keep going on, such as remastering a video that focused on Batman's arc within the movie, along with many other depths I had to skim over for the sake of keeping this video on track. Check out other great DC videos of mine, or videos on other slept on hated by a vocal minority movies, like the Star Wars prequels or Joker 2. Thanks for watching.